Hi everyone, it's Jane, and today I want to talk about the Odyssey by Homer. I think that it's it's a foundational cornerstone of Western literature, and I think that it's worth looking at, and also it's a pretty fun book on its own. The story and the adventures are just unparalleled. I mean, I can see people saying that it's not unparalleled, but I do think that it's a pretty good story, and like, if you like mythology, if you just like a good hero story, I think that's pretty fun. And so, you know, I think that it is an old book, so like, it's not like, there are some different things, right? It's not like modern books, right? There's a lot of repeating phrases, it's in a poem style, right? But I think that overall it's like, I think that it's fundamentally similar to every other type of like adventure novel out there. It's just in a different format. And like, even with like the more modern translations, it just reads like a regular book. Like, I know that it's in verse, but like, honestly, like, if you just read it out loud, most people won't even know that it's in poem, because it just sounds like a regular book. And modern translations make it sound like a regular book anyway. So I think that there is really no difference, right, between modern books and the Odyssey, and this, like, the fact that this gap has kind of been like jumped by a lot of these modern translations, I think is a great thing, because now more people can explore such classics. And so I think that focusing on the Odyssey is a great idea for two main reasons. First, as I said, it is a foundational cornerstone of Western literature, and I think that this is really important because if you look at the Odyssey, it's like where a lot of the original themes or characters really came out. Like, there's like this like this hero type. This is like one of the most original things that the Odyssey kind of made up. Like, this is like the hero that you can see in so many other books. You might not know it, but you're looking at Odysseus. Odysseus is like the original hero who was like the father of all heroes, in the way that a lot of other heroes have been inspired by him, because, you know, he's like the original hero, right? This was 2,600 years ago. And so this was like, this was the original story. This was the original hero story. And so I think that that really means that, like, yeah, it's like just, it's really good to look at these foundational stories, because then when you look at other stories, you can see the traces of ancient literature in everything. And that just gives you a better appreciation and understanding of how literature really changed throughout the ages, and also it can help you understand like present novels and like classics better, because lots of the time they can be pretty confusing, but if you like try to break them down in terms of what you've already read, that always helps. But then second, another reason why the Odyssey is great, because it's just great on its own. It's pretty fun. And then finally, and I think most importantly, is that it has a bunch of themes that like you can explore, and which are echoed throughout so many other books. So I think that if you know the themes here, then you can know the themes in so many other books. And also, like, the reason that most people read books is so that they can like learn something from them, right? Also to have fun, but also to learn something from them. And like, if you're one of those readers, then like, I think that the Odyssey is like an obvious choice, even if you disregard like the other reasons. And so I think that one of the main, and you know, the Odyssey is a pretty long book. Actually, it's pretty short if you think about the fact that it's only in verse. And so I think that one of the best things about the Odyssey is that it kind of gives us a change from the regular environment that we're accustomed to. I don't know if there's like a bunch of Percy Jackson fans out there, but like, if you're not one of them, or even if you have read the Percy Jackson books, this is like kind of a different feel. I think it's really interesting to just go back to the world of like ancient Greece, or like, you know, these like countries. I don't know if I should really be calling them Greece, because like, technically they're like not really, they don't call themselves Greece, but like, the point is that basically it's really interesting to go back thousands of years and, you know, see this in like And this is like a story that I don't, at least for me, I've read a lot of books, and I think that a lot of modern books don't really go back to like the old days, right? Sure, you're gonna see like a few books about time travel, but if it's not that, you don't really see these types of things. And so I think that this is like a pretty fresh. It's fresh, and it's also like the oldest, and I guess like oldest. But I think that's like a pretty good way to look at the another world. But then yeah, I think there's a lot of themes that are so relevant to today. One of them is vanity, or sorry, not vanity, but like kind of like self-confidence and like, what should I say? Like hubris, right? The fact that like people, they really they like for example, Odysseus is like a pretty much like amazing hero. Like sure, he has his faults, but like overall, like he survives 10 years. He's always faithful to his home and his family, and like he manages to survive all that long, right? It's like pretty hard to get that far. But then he also has his faults. For example, when he's like running away from the Cyclops, right? I don't know, Cyclops, what he says is that he calls out, "My name is Odysseus, and son of blah, 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 blah," right? And so the Cyclops is like, oh my gosh, so, and then he just basically prays to his dad, who is Poseidon, and then Poseidon makes the entire journey for Odysseus like super hard, right? And that's what really delays him for 10 years. And I think that that's like a foundational theme that kind of resonates throughout the book, is that because of that like pride that Odysseus felt in that one moment, what happened is that those consequences stretched on for so long. And I think that another theme is easily seen in the gods, right? These gods are like these supernatural beings that can control everything, right? Poseidon, the god of the sea, if he says, okay, you know what, I don't like you, you did something bad to my children, so I'm not gonna allow you to go back home, then he can just do that with a snap of his fingers, right? And then other gods like Athena also help Odysseus on the way. Now, I don't think the theme is that, oh, gods are controlling every single like moment of our lives and that our fates are determined. I don't know. I think that that's like honestly not like that true of a theme that we should be like really trying to get. But I think that like the overall theme is like theme is that like you can get on the good side or the bad side of the gods, and then that really either messes up your life or that really helps your life, right? Now, I think that how we should be looking at this is that the actions that we do have enormous consequences, right? Because like the gods determine our lives, right? The three fates spin out our fate, and so if we do good things, the gods will appreciate us, and they will basically like rain down gifts. We'll have like a great like kingdom or whatever, right? Like for example, in a lot of these books, like if the gods favor like a king, for example, that king, he has an amazing kingdom. He has like 24/7, well not 24/7, but like year-round like good harvests, and he's just in the favor of the gods, right? And that means that he can live well. But if you're not in the favor of the gods, like Odysseus, you're stuck for 10 years trying to get back home, right? And so I think that like basically the theme is that what you do, your actions resonate, and you have to deal with the consequences, and the consequences can be hard, right? Odysseus probably didn't know that the one sentence that he said, that he was Odysseus, that probably like he didn't know that would cost him so much pain and all of his friends, right? But that did happen. And so I think that this is like a big theme and a long-winded way of saying even small things can have large consequences, and all of our actions have these consequences that really just go throughout life, right? And then I think there's like a bunch of themes. I think that like you can't really stop, because the Odyssey is like so complex, and I don't really want to go into like the really depths of that, right? That's going to be for like another video. This is just for like kind of an overview, and then we'll focus on the themes later in like other videos. But I also think that like that there's like this another theme that's like, and it's not a theme, but I think that this is like obviously kind of favored by Homer, and I think and the gods, and I think that that's like, if you're faithful and if you're loyal, that's like really good, right? Both Odysseus and also his son, and this is sorry, I always get mixed up with the names. I have like 3 different people who I all think is his son. So, right, Telemachus. Basically, he goes out in search for his father, right? I think that this faithfulness is really important because at the end of the day, Odysseus returns, right? And he just like wipes out all of his suitors. And I think that, say that like, I don't know, like Odysseus's wife had just married somebody else, right? Like if she had done that, like I don't think that Odysseus would have been really happy with her. But like the point is that like, because of the fact that like these people stayed loyal to her, the fact that Odysseus stayed loyal to what he wanted to get, they all got what they wanted, right? The son got his dad, right? The dad was able to return home, and the wife and then the mom was able to get her husband. The point is that like the Odyssey, I think, really is just trying to say that like, and I think that this is like another way of just saying the theme that I said before. The Odyssey is just one big jumble of fates. Whatever you do, that has repercussions. If you're faithful, that has repercussions. If you're not faithful, that has repercussions. If you're a bad person, like I don't know, the suitors or the or like say a monster, that has bad repercussions. And I think that that's like a big thing. Now, as I go on throughout the book, I really hope on getting through and like focusing on some of these themes really closely, right? There's a bunch of themes out there, and doing like more like close analysis of some of the main parts, because I think that the Odyssey is like really, it's not like one thing, but it's like several different like these episodes that are stitched together and which like really make it interesting, right? It's like, oh, he's in one kingdom, then he's in the next kingdom, or you know, he's first like with this monster, and then he's like, I don't know, in the realm of Hades or something like that, right? And so I think there's like a bunch of episodes that like we can kind of analyze separately, and then we can like do overall overviews. And so I think the Odyssey is going to be like a rich book that we can explore. And then obviously the Odyssey is actually building off of the Iliad, and so I think that the Iliad is like another really interesting book. I think that the Odyssey is just better in the fact that like it's more like of a story, and so you can like kind of I don't know, people probably are gonna like protest against this, but I think that the Odyssey is like honestly a better story, and that it's more exciting, and it's also like better to follow, and like it's just it's like more, it has more clear themes. But we'll see as we go further into the world of like Grecian mythology, etc., right? And I think that like if you go back to this, there are so many different examples of like Grecian plays or poems, for example, Antigone, right? And there's like a bunch of different examples. I think that just as we look at the Lord of the Rings, which is another book that is like deemed as one of the like foundational cornerstones of like modern Western literature. I guess, you know, like it's 2,000 years apart, but I think that we can kind of say that they're the same thing, in that if we look at the Lord of the Rings, or if we look at the Odyssey, I think that we see some of like the main elements of these stories that just perfuse throughout the rest of literature. And so I'm really excited on learning more about that and learning more about what these foundational books are really about, and I hope that you are too. And yeah, throughout the next few videos we'll be talking about the Odyssey. I hope that you enjoy, and I'll see you next time for a theme analysis on one of the main themes of the Odyssey, which is just these whatever you do has repercussions. Today I just provided a very brief overview, but next time I'll be going more in depth with more examples, more details, and more like analyses. And I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Keep reading. Bye.